After several months of anticipation, the first release of Interstellar Marines' co-op mode is out. Labeled the NeuroGen Incident, this is supposedly the first 4-player co-op mission of many that will take place in the humongous space station map that Zero Point Software has developed. While buggy and obviously lacking content, there's lots of potential for great gameplay to be implemented in the future. It's clear that the developers worked incredibly hard to get this update out. They even had to delay it a week due to optimization issues. On launch day, there were numerous bugs and very few players could even join servers, but by the next day everything was up and running and players finally could experience the new update.
Suit system enabled.
I played for several hours and never had a game crash, although the very frequent frame rate drops worked against immersing me into the dark and eerie atmosphere. While no changes had been made to the graphics, the team deserves some credit for pulling off a map of this scale. Peeking around corners to see if an infected robot is lurking in the dark is intense, and the excellent sounds of the footsteps as they run towards you highlight how well Interstellar Marines takes advantage of sound design. The attention to detail is impressive, and the team clearly has plans to expand on this universe in the future. Looking out the window and seeing a planet in the distance is exciting, and hints at what Interstellar Marines could be. What is disappointing is how bland and dull some of the earlier sections of the map are. The color scheme is a generic gray palette that most modern sci-fi games use today, and 3D models are reused several times. On the story side, you aren't given any more than a few audio logs hidden around the map. This is the first co-op update, so this is easily forgivable, although it is worth mentioning to anyone who's expecting an engaging plot. When you first start, you're in a hangar, and your objective is, well, I think you're supposed to get to point A? Those are the words going through my head as I played for my first time. There's no indication as to what you're supposed to do other than to follow the objective markers. I discovered that you're supposed to find key cards hidden around the map that opened up a locked door that leads you to a separate segment of the map. I had to talk to a developer to figure that out because there was no indication in-game. After I got bored of walking around with no direction during my first playthrough, I was left with a dull impression. But once I went back in with a couple experienced members from the Interstellar Marines community and one of the game developers, we managed to make it through the entire mission. I'm glad I went back. The final moments are heart-pounding and intense and make up for most of the game's flaws early on. You definitely need to play with 3 other friends though, because the robots that attack you are brutal and you will die a lot. It takes a matter of seconds to go down, and if you don't have teammates there to revive you, you'll have to restart the entire mission from the very beginning. That sounds fun? It's not. No one wants to walk to the other side of the map, fight through dozens of robots just to die in a matter of seconds because they ran out of ammo while trying to take out a robot which had way too much health in the first place. Speaking of robots, functioning as the only AI at this point in development, they serve as a decent enemy. The team put a lot of effort to making sure that the AI was smart, interesting, and fun. They definitely achieved this, although the actual look and design of the robots could be a little more interesting. The audio logs that are scattered around the map aren't bad, but they just don't do much to engage me into the game when there's no opening cutscene or any other form of storytelling to back them up. The voice acting is also a bit flat sometimes. Sarah, the generic AI voice that talks throughout the station, can get a bit repetitive at times and annoying. Every time my teammate goes down, I don't need a robot telling me to revive him. I get it. I have 15 seconds. The actual interaction between players right now is thin, as you can only revive them. Walking through tight quarters can sometimes be frustrating, as players tend to lag a bit or jitter when they're colliding with teammates. This isn't a major issue, but it does highlight how empty and light the game is on features and the lack of the ability to coordinate complex strategies. On top of that, the only interaction with the map is pressing E on your keyboard to activate a button. On the multiplayer side, there have been no improvements, but if you're playing Interstellar Marines for your first time, you'll have a good bit of fun.
A large variety of maps keeps the matches interesting, but unless you're involved in the strong community built around the game, you can quickly become bored.
It's hard to treat Interstellar Marines as a complete package because no one part of the game is finished. The multiplayer is lacking and the co-op experience is just beginning, but the game is still in early alpha and is an early access game on Steam. It's definitely one of the more developed and polished early access games, but it should not be taken as a complete or polished product. For every positive I can find about Interstellar Marines, I can find a negative. I'm a little disappointed with this update, and I feel that the team could have spent more time engaging players early on in the mission instead of in the final 10 minutes. The full mission lasts for about an hour. You'll either love the multiplayer or you'll hate it. If you don't have any friends to play with, random strangers won't make up for that. If you're looking for a new co-op game to play with your friends, Interstellar Marines will keep you interested for a couple of hours, but don't expect much content to keep you going after that.